Namaste and a very happy new year to everyone. Today is the first video of this new year and I'm making my all-time favorite classic cake that never gets old. This moist and flavorful carrot cake is bursting with grated carrots, toasted nuts and a touch of pineapple, all wrapped up in a tangy cream cheese frosting that's pure magic. Did you know carrots were used in sweet European cakes since the Middle Ages? Carrots in cakes aren't as weird as they seem. Back in the Middle Ages, when sugar was scarce, folks used carrots in sweet treats for their natural sweetness. Plus, those pretty orange flecks aren't just for the show. They also add moisture and keep the cake super tender. So, let's not keep you waiting and let's get started with the recipe. Alright, let's preheat the oven to 180 degrees Celsius and whisk together our dry ingredients. So here goes the all-purpose flour, salt, baking powder, baking soda, ground cinnamon or cinnamon powder, whatever you call it, and whisk everything together until well combined. You know, cinnamon is our secret weapon for that warm, cozy flavor in this cake. Okay, so this is done. Let's keep this aside and work on our wet ingredients. So in your mixer bowl, now whip up the eggs. So here are the eggs. Beat them for a minute or so. Okay. And now add sugar and I'm going to beat this until it's all light and fluffy, just like a cloud in a bowl. So you can say about 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, see, this is now looking pale and light and I'm adding some vanilla extract to this and again I'm going to beat this. Now while the mixer is on, I'm going to pour the oil while mixing this batter. I'm adding the oil gradually. And if you don't have a stand mixer, you can use a hand mixer or even a whisk to make the batter. Just be sure to mix it well until everything is combined. Because if you're using your hand to whisk this, you're going to take much longer time as compared to your stand mixer or your hand mixer. Okay, and now for that tropical burst, let's add this crushed pineapple. You can also add half cup of apple sauce if you have that instead of the pineapple. Okay, now once this is mixed, I'm going to add that wonderful flour mixture that we prepared earlier. So add everything in one go. I'm going to start the mixer. Now keep the mixer to the low speed at this moment. And once all the flour is incorporated, I'm going to fold in the grated carrots. So these are freshly grated carrots. It's winter here nowadays and in winters we usually get these red carrots. Now here I want to give a tip for extra moist carrots. Grate them and then let them sit in a bowl with a tablespoon of sugar for 10 minutes before adding them to the batter. I'm also adding some toasted walnuts. Now mix this on low speed. Okay, do not overmix. Now take the bowl off the mixer and give a last mix with a rubber spatula. Now grab two 9-inch cake pans, round cake pans, butter them up or use a non-stick spray and then place a circle of parchment paper at the bottom. Now doing this is going to make your life easier later while taking out the cake. Do this with both the round pans, and also do not overmix the batter while making the cake, because once the dry ingredients are incorporated, you should stop mixing. Overmixing can always make the cake tough. Now divide the batter equally between your cake pans and bake this for about 30 to 35 minutes or until a toothpick inserted in the center comes out clean. You'll know they are ready when a toothpick inserted in the center comes out clean or the cakes start putting away from the sides of the pan. Okay, so I'm going to bake this in a preheated oven 180 degrees Celsius for about 30-35 minutes. Keep a check after 20 minutes because everyone's oven is different. So finally these cakes are fresh out of the oven. Let them cool on a wire rack, and while the cakes cool, let's whip up that dreamy cream cheese frosting. So into our mixer goes butter. Cream the butter for a minute or so. Okay, let me just scrape the sides and the bottom for once. Now I'm adding some powdered sugar into this. Then add the vanilla extract and some lemon juice. The splash of lemon juice adds that zing to the frosting. Now keep beating until it is light and fluffy. And do not forget to scrape the sides and the bottom of your bowl in between the beating. Okay, everything seems to be mixed properly now. And now I'll be adding the cream cheese little by little. Keep mixing until we have that light velvety smooth frosting, and keep adding this cream cheese little by little. Okay, I'm going to keep mixing this until we have that light, velvety, smooth frosting. Okay, now this looks smooth and luscious. And now is the time. I'm going to give a last mix with my rubber spatula, and see, it's so light and fluffy now, all cloudy. So now time for us to assemble our cake. Now place a cardboard, a board, this round board. This you can get from your local vendor who sells all those baking items, and place one cake on this board. I'm going to slather on some of that creamy frosting. Now spread this evenly. It's just a thin layer of frosting here, not very thick. Okay, now place that second cake on its top. Another tip I would like to give here is let the cakes cool completely before frosting them. If the cakes are too warm, the frosting is going to melt. Okay, and add all the remaining frosting over this layer. And now I'm going to coat the entire cake with this remaining frosting. You can only coat the top if you want, but I'll kind of take this to the sides also, because the frosting is quite enough for that, and it will look like a semi-covered kind of cake, the naked cakes that we call them. Now I'm not very good in decorating cakes like those professional bakers, but I think this too is going to look amazing. So do let me know in the comments how does this cake looks like once it's all ready. This is the final thing after 10 to 15 minutes of my efforts. This is how I was able to finalize. And now if you are feeling fancy, try to make some kind of design. This is all what I know, or I also sometimes make some design with the back of the spoon. So okay, this looks cool. And now if you're feeling fancy, like you can garnish this with some more toasted nuts. I have 1/4 cup of these toasted nuts with me, walnuts with me, and I'm going to garnish this on top of the cake. Okay, see, it's looking very elegant, I think. You can pop this into the fridge if you want, and it will remain fresh for about 5 to 7 days. Okay, let me just cut a slice and show you how it looks from inside. Now this cake is a crowd pleaser for sure. You can serve it cold or at room temperature, and you can store any leftover in the fridge for up to 5 days. In summers, if it's winters, you can store it for more than 5 days also. And you can also freeze it for a month, and you just have to defrost it overnight before serving. See how beautiful this cake looks. Those orange carrot, reddish orange carrot flakes, and the nuts peeping from inside, and the thin layer of that frosting in between the cake layers. See, a perfect cake for this cold winter afternoons or evenings. Perfect for gatherings or just a sweet treat. So if you love this recipe, give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more tasty adventures. Until next time, happy baking!